Hello students, so welcome back to the channel. So from today we are going to start with the KVPY previous year question discussion also. In each video I'll be trying to discuss the 5 questions of the previous year, explaining why which answer is correct and why we are not selecting the other options also. Okay, so this is the first question we have started. It is of 2010 year. A horse which is having 64 chromosomes. So this is for your learning also. Please learn that horse is having 64 chromosomes and donkey has 62 chromosomes. So when they are crossed, then the mule is obtained after crossing the horse and donkey. Then the question they are asking which is incorrect. We have to remember that they are asking which is incorrect. Okay, beta, don't get confused. Please focus here. Now one thing, if you know, see the solution. See, I'm doing it here. When we are saying that horse is having 64 chromosomes, it means it will make the gametes with 32 chromosomes. The gametes will have 32 chromosomes because gametes are always haploid in nature. So this is the half number of the chromosome which is made by the horse gametes. Now donkey which is having 62 chromosomes. So when it is making the gamete, then the gamete will contain 31 chromosomes. Okay, the gamete will contain 31 chromosomes. And when they are crossed, then the progeny will get chromosome number that is only 63. So this will be the chromosome number present in the progeny, which is 2n. And this progeny is known as mule. So this much you have understood the concept. Now see, they are asking which option is incorrect. So they are telling that mules have either 64, 63 or 62 chromosomes. This statement is appearing to be wrong because actually mule is having only 63, but they have given the choice of 64, 62. So we will think this is wrong. But let us analyze other option also. Mules are infertile. This is correct because we know mules are not fertile. So this statement is correct actually. Is it clear? So this statement is appearing correct. Now mules have 63 chromosomes. Yes, we have already understood that mules will have 63 chromosomes. Now mule will have well-defined gender. Gender means it will be either male or either female. Generally they are male. Yes, this is also true that they will have well-defined gender only. So it means this statement is incorrect. So this first statement is incorrect. So this is my answer. Mule will have either 64, 63 or 62. No, they will not have all this because they have only 63 chromosomes. So this statement is incorrect. This is the way how we are coming to the answer. Clear, beta? Now we are going with the next question. Now let us discuss the second question. A couple went to a doctor and reported that both of them are carrier for particular disorder. It means they are carrier. We have to just focus first this line that they both couples, husband, wife, they both are carrier for a disorder. Their first child is suffering from that disorder, but they are not suffering. Okay, up till your question is clear. Their first child is only suffering, but they are not suffering. They are only carrier. And they are expecting second child. What is the probability that the new child will be affected by the same disorder? Now see, for this, how we will solve it. First of all, both husband and wife, they are not sufferer. So they are only carrier. So it means, and their first child is shown to be a sufferer. Let us assume first child is a son. So he is assumed to be a sufferer. It indicates that the parents are autosomal recessive. Is it clear? They are autosomal recessive disorder. So it means they are heterozygous condition and the child was sufferer because child became in this condition. That is why the child was sufferer. Reason is, if you know very well, that recessive disease, recessive allele can express itself only in homozygous condition, not in heterozygous condition. Okay, recessive allele expressed only in homozygous condition. And the question is telling us that the couple is only carrier. It means they are not sufferer. It means they are having the recessive allele. How we are able to say they are having recessive allele? Because they produce a sufferer child. And sufferer child produced means The child is having two recessive allele homozygous. So one he got from the father, one he got from the mother. Now, what is the chance of the second child? This is the doubt they are asking it. If you check carefully this presentation, if you remember, it is like a Mendel monohybrid F1 generation. Remember, beta? Mendel monohybrid F1 generation. Let me do the work of the F1 generation, resemble it here. See, if you remember it, Mendel tall plant was crossed with dwarf plant. Then F1 generation was only heterozygous tall. And when it was allowed to go for selfing, then I think so if you remember 3 tall and 1 dwarf, you were getting it. Remember beta? It means only 25% chances of becoming the allele homozygous condition. 75% will be in the dominant trait and only 25% will be the recessive trait. So same here, what is the percentage of this child being a sufferer? Obviously, again, you can apply the same. You can make a Punnett square for solving it. This is the gamete of the father. Okay. And this is the gamete of the mother. This side, let us make it. And you are finding it. See here. This is not sufferer. Even this is also not sufferer. Even this is, only this fellow is sufferer. So how many children will be sufferer? 1 out of 4. You will say 1 out of 4. So 1 out of 4 means 1 out of 4 we say it means percentage wise it goes 25%. So your answer will come third option, 25%. So this is the way how you should solve. Clear? Now let us see the next question. Restriction endonuclease are enzyme that cleaves, means that will cut DNA molecule into 2 smaller fragments. Now see one thing, if you remember in the biotech chapter, this is your DNA. Clear beta? This is from 3 dash, let us assume from 5 dash. Then this is from 3 dash to 5 dash. If here A is there, okay, if here A is there, in front of it T will be there. If it is G is there, here C will be there. If C here, then G will be there. And if here T, then here A will be there. Understood? And these are your hydrogen bond present. You know very well, between A and T only 2 hydrogen bond, and between G and C, there will be 3 hydrogen bond. Now, restriction enzymes will recognize the particular sequence. Right now, I've drawn one sequence. This is known as palindromes. Palindromes means if you read only from 3 dash to 5 dash. Let us assume I'm reading from here. I'm saying A, G, C, T. And from here also I'll say A, G, C, T. I hope this much you have understood. So they are known as palindromes. Now, restriction endonuclease will recognize these palindromes and they will make a cut. See where they will make a cut. They will cut here. They will cut this part. Let us assume they have to produce a sticky end. So this is the site from where they are cutting. Okay, beta? This is the site which they are cutting. Please remember it. So this is what type of bond is this? This is your phosphodiester bond which they cut. So your restriction endonuclease will cut phosphodiester bond because the diester bond is the one which is helping in making the polynucleotide. And this is your polynucleotide right now. Understood? So phosphodiester bonds are cut with the help of restriction endonuclease. So your answer will go third option. Is it clear, class? They will not break glycosidic bond. No, they will not break hydrogen bond. No disulfide bond. They are just going to break diester bond. And this is a question of 2010 only related to the biotech question. This is your biotech question related. I hope this is helping you to learn it also and it's helping you to prepare. Now see the next question. Now see again one next question. In a diploid organism, okay, organism is diploid. There are 3 different alleles for a particular gene. Of these 3 alleles, one is recessive and the other 2 alleles are codominant. So when they are telling more than 2 alleles, it means this is a case of multiple allele. This is a case of multiple allele. Now, if you know multiple allele, example is your blood group, ABO blood group. This blood group is a case of the multiple allele, in which gene I is there, which is having 3 allele. Clear? IA, IB, and either you write small I or either you write IO. And we write it this way, ki IA and IB both are codominant, and they are dominant over this thing. This is the presentation we write for the relationship of alleles. Now, if you remember blood group, how many phenotypes are present for the blood group? We know very well there are only 4 phenotypes of blood group. We write either blood group is A, or either we write blood group is B, or either we say blood group is AB, or either we say blood group is O. The phenotypes are total 4 in number. Alleles are 3 in number. Please emphasize carefully, please learn it. Alleles are 3 there. There are 3 alleles for one gene, and phenotypes total are 4. So we can make one formula from here. For the phenotype, formula we can write it n plus 1. N means number of alleles given to us. This you can use for other examples also. Suppose I say Drosophila eye color, there are 15 alleles. In Drosophila eye color, there are 15 alleles. So what will be the number of the phenotypes? So you will say 15 plus 1, 16. So N means, here N means number of allele. Is it clear? Number of allele. Now here, let me just introduce one more thing. When they ask you for genotype, right now the question is asked only for phenotype, but when they ask you for genotype, then please apply this formula, n by 2, n plus 1. Okay, beta, this is the formula for genotype, you need to apply it. For multiple allele, remember this is only formula for multiple allele. Please don't confuse yourself by thinking something else. It is only for multiple allele. This formula you have to remember, this formula. But here your question is asked with respect to phenotype. With 3 alleles, they have mentioned already 3 alleles. So 3 plus 1, the answer will go 4. Third option means 4 phenotypes will be there. I hope this is helping you to improve your theory also. Now let us see the last question. Now see this question. 2 students are given 2 different double-stranded DNA of equal length. Length is equal, but they are different. Why they are using what different DNA double-stranded? Because base pair might be different. Now let us see. They have been asked to denature DNA by heating. If I'm saying denature DNA by heating, it means I have to break hydrogen bond. The breaking of hydrogen bond has to be done. The breaking of hydrogen bond. Clear, beta? Now see, this is the DNA of A student. This is a sequence given to us, ATGC. So A is 35, G is 15. What is G? Same is C also. So this is the one you have to learn it, okay? This is given to you. Sorry, you don't need to learn, you have to just remember it. Now here, this is the DNA of B is given to you. Okay, AGTC sequence is this way only, but if you see here, adenine is only 12, thymine is also 12. Now, how to solve such type of questions? See, we have to remember always that between A and T, there is 2 hydrogen bond. And between G and C, there is 3 hydrogen bond. First of all, remember the number of the hydrogen bond. The one which is having high number of hydrogen bond will require more time to break it. Is it clear? AT will require less time as compared to GC. Reason is it is having 3 hydrogen bond. I hope this much concept you are understanding. Now we have to see how much is present GC in student A. Now let me write, this is of the student A. Okay. So AT is given how much, beta? Check carefully. AT is given 35, 35. So A is 35, T is also 35. But GC is given 15 and 15. So this much is clear to you. Okay, this is clear for A student. Now let us make for the B student. A is given 12 and T is given also 12. G is given 28 and for C student, C cytosine is also given 28. Is it clear? After this, if you see carefully, you are finding GC is high in, check carefully where GC is high. GC is high in the DNA of the B student, not in the A student. It means A student DNA will melt fast. It will melt faster, but B student, because it is having more number of distinct bond, so it will melt slow. Is it clear? It will take time for melting because it is having 28 GC base pair and it is having only 15 GC base pair. So by seeing the GC, we have to calculate it. So now I hope you can understand both will at same rate. No, it is not possible. Insufficient information, no, information is sufficient only. DNA of B student will denature faster, no, we know it will not denature faster, but who will melt faster? DNA of A student will melt faster. I hope melting, denature means melting. I hope this is helping you to understand the concept also. You have to just remember in solving this question where GC base pair is high. The one who is having GC base pair will require more time, and the one which is having less GC base pair will require less time. It will melt faster. So today 5 questions have been discussed of 2010 year. In the next video, we'll be discussing again next 5 questions, explaining you entire the concept related to the topic. I hope this practice will help you to prepare for your KVPY exam. Thanks for watching class.